Hey guys, Heavy Arms 45 here. Recently I did what I normally do. I looked at one of my videos that I've put up there. Normally I look at the one I just put up because apparently I like to hear myself talk. But this time I decided to, you know, with some situations going on about protests and stuff like that, it made me think about back during Black History Month. I did a couple videos about Anansi from American Gods, and so yeah, it had me thinking. But there's one thing that Anansi always talks about. He says, "Time for a story." So I'm gonna tell y'all a story about one, why I created this channel, and two, just a story that I think you might find interesting. Uh, the reason I created this channel, and no one ever asks why, no one cares about why, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. Um, the reason I created this channel back as a kid, I um, I was a family kid. Like if it was something dealing with family, I was there. Like my closest friend and still the person I figure is my best friend is my cousin that me and her been together since I was whew, 6 months old. You know, we used to dress up in the same colors, same exact clothes all the way up to junior high. Um, we had well she had plans which I messed up of. We were going to have kids at the same time, and our kid was gonna grow up and we don't keep that whole thing going, but I messed it up. I do apologize for that, but that's besides the point. But I was a family kid. I did everything with family. When it came to being at school, I felt isolated. There was always kids around me that they might talk to me, but me and them weren't friends. We didn't hang out after school or anything like that. And so I always felt like I was alone. I always felt like I had to be the one to understand whenever something was not gonna go my way. So like if me and this person said that we were gonna hang out, um, I had to be the one when they counsel me. You had to be like, it's fine, you don't have to work. And it wasn't something that I really liked doing. But since I didn't hang out with a lot of people, and besides family, I became more of an introvert. So if you don't know what introvert is, that means that you're more to yourself. And I was very extroverted around family, but when it came to people outside of family, I'm very closed mouth. And even to some family, if I don't see you on a regular basis, I'm not finna talk to you about a lot of stuff because I don't know you. Um, but because of that, I was a person who I got lost a lot of times in watching movies. I loved watching with my sister Disney movies, like I said before, The Little Mermaid. I liked, I don't know what's the name of the movie, but I know it's a DuckTales movie where Huey, Dewey, and Louie find a magic lamp and Scrooge tries to take it from, takes it from, he doesn't try to. But I liked watching that movie. I was brought up watching Dick Tracy. I loved watching superhero uh, cartoons, like Batman, Spider Man, X Men. So to me, those were natural characters to me. They always were people that I looked up to. And so whenever it came to my mind, I always sat up there and I would imagine different characters. Actually, at the time, I didn't imagine different characters. I imagined one character. And before I get anywhere else, I want to explain. I I was a slow reader. That's one of the reasons why I always liked movies and stuff like that, because I could get all the information that I felt like I could get from a book or from a comic book in movie form. So, you know, less requirements of reading. So I was pretty happy with that. Well, because I was so much into the movies, I had such an imagination where I created this character that was basically me in my head. And his name was Gemini. He was everything that I wasn't. He was like, because I was a slow reader, and I felt like because I was a slow reader and me being from the South, I felt like I talk slow. I felt like people might thought of me as being somebody that's retarded. So because of that, I made up this guy named Gemini. Gemini was um, fast. He was a superhero. He was saving the day. You know, I didn't even have a specific city that he was saving. He was just saving like a big city, probably New York, because all Marvel characters are in New York. So I'm thinking that this character's super fast. He's gonna save the world. And in my head, I created stories of things that happened to him, villains that he would go up against. Um, and I don't remember all the villains' names, but he would always beat them with his super speed. And I felt like, hey, this is kind of like copywriting against, copyright infringement if I tried to like make a story of this, because this dealing with the Flash. This basically Flash stuff he's doing. But I was like, no, he's not the Flash because he's black. You know, Flash not black, and not like I'm gonna write a story about this anyway. So I rushed in my head of how this character's going to save the world, and basically he had my name. He had the way he had his powers was uh his powers came from a medallion he had around his neck. There was a little Gemini logo he had. He would touch it and say Gemini, kind of like, you know, how the Power Rangers used to morph and say Tyrannosaurus and all this stuff. So that was how he worked. And the older I got, the more powerful in my head he became. I would be in class whenever the teacher was not teaching and we were just sitting in class doing nothing. Everybody else talking. I'm in my mind like thinking up all the next adventures of Gemini, what's going to happen. And as he got stronger and strong, I was like, okay, he's fast. What would make it to where he basically go faster than how fast he can run? He suddenly gets electrical powers. So now Gemini is not running fast, but he's able to go as fast as lightning. So now he's like lightning fast, be able to shock people. And I'm like, hey, that's a great idea. So I created in my head this character that now his stuff doesn't do with him being super fast, but him shooting electrical powers. And this is before a friend told me, you know, black characters always have electrical powers. And I'm like, no, they don't. And I had to think about it. Black Bolt, Black Lightning, Static Shock. I'm sorry, Black Vulcan, Black Lightning, Static Shock. Um, yeah, they black people do have electrical powers when it comes to what power they, and probably because no, it's kind of a metaphor of they're trying to shock reality. I mean, shock the establishment of what the world's like. But whichever way you see it, yeah, all these people had power, but I didn't care. You know, this is my character. I'm building him up, and after a while, I actually did like writing, because I found out that my mom wrote poetry, and I was I was flirtatious with a bunch of people in junior high and high school and stuff like that, and somewhat in college, but a little bit less in college. And so I was a little poetry boy in all cases. I was giving uh, poetry out to just about every girl I thought was cute. And so that got me into wanted to do something a little bit more. Even though I hated reading, I would still write stuff. And so I would write these poems. And from me writing poems, I would try to use. I'm gonna put all these poems together. I'm gonna put them into a book. I'm gonna sell the book. Cause hey, even if I don't use all of them, I can at least sell them to where people can like give them to somebody like, huh, this is a good poem to use, and they'll give it to their girlfriend and all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. There's nothing wrong with that. And to be honest with you, there wasn't nothing wrong with that. But from that, my writing increased. From writing poetry, I started trying to write plays because I want. About this point, I'm in high school. I'm starting to see uh, people like Tyler Perry who did Diary of a Mad Black Woman to play. So, and I heard how he was living out of his car, and I'm like, hey, I could try to do that. So I started trying to write plays, and one of my plays actually got produced at the church I went to at the time. And so I kept wanting to write, still writing poetry, starting to try and write plays, not sure how that's gonna work, figuring that, maybe I could be a clean writer, do be a writer that no matter what happens, I'm not gonna have any profanity in anything that I write. I'm gonna be a good, clean writer, and uh, I'm still working on that part, because I find that sometimes when I'm writing, because I still write sometimes now, that sometimes expletives actually intensify um, conversation. And, not everybody is a clean spoken person. So if you don't have somebody that's a criminal doesn't always be polite and say everything in a very uh, clean way. So, I did stuff there. But I kept wanting to uh, do plays. Once I got into college, I'm like, hey, that's really what I want to do. I want to learn how to write plays. I want to do this. I want, so what's the best way to try and do that? Literature. How about I become an English major, focusing on writing literature, because that's really what my dream is. So I go to college. I go to the dean of the English department, and he's like, "So, what do you want to get a major in?" I'm like, "I want to get I want to get a degree in creative writing." The man looks at me and says, "Ain't nobody don't ask you will you come write for us. Pick a new major." Which, now that I think about it, I could have got a journalism degree. Journalism would have still allowed me to do creative writing because you're still writing for. But no, he said no one's gonna ask you, will you come write for us? Pick a new major. So I went to computer operations, and then from computer operations I went back into trying to be an English teacher because I saw that the great Maya Angelou was a teacher while still writing some of her books and poetry. And I'm like, and doing some promos for her everything that she's done. She was a spokesperson all the time. So I'm like, yeah, I could do something like that. I could not be a Maya Angelou, but I could follow her footsteps. So as you can see, I'm seeing how everybody else is doing stuff. I'm trying to do it their way. Um, as it kept going on, I got out of college. Um, I started working, and as I started working, I started seeing that, and it was something I realized. I like the more and more I worked, the less time I had for writing. Like every once in a while, if I found the girl that I was interested in, I might throw her one or two poems. When back in high school and junior high, I was writing at least, like, there was little small things, but about a poem a week or so like that. And now I'm just writing one or two for one girl in a year. I really started doing, and my whole writing plays went away. I still had thoughts. I had ideas of stuff I could write, but I could never find the time to do it. And after I had did that, I just started feeling like, well, it's not. I start. My idea was still, I want to be a creative writer. I did try. I didn't get a degree in being an English teacher, by the way. Um, you remember how I said that I was a slow reader? Well, being a slow reader uh, slowed me down on reading some stuff I had to in class. Plus, I had made friends in college, and having friends in college when you've never had friends before, that's not a part of your family. I kind of like, they like, hey, we don't hang out. Hey, that's a good idea. And so I would hang out, then try to read afterwards. Didn't read enough of the book, have a quiz, mess up. That was my fault. I screwed up in that. So when the dean, the English department sees me, and we're talking about me trying to be a English major, and I'm not far from becoming an English major. I just need to take the praxis and finish up a couple English classes. And he says, you know, I can't sign off on you being an English teacher. Now that broke me. I mean, like, all I had was maybe, I could have probably graduated in about a year, um, with what I needed left over. Well, when he said that, I had to find a new major. So I became a general studies major in the fine arts, because this whole time I've been taking English classes, theater classes. I loved working backstage of the theater department, and I actually tried to be a theater major once I was told I couldn't be an English teacher, but that would take another 2 years, and they said I didn't have the funds for that. So we um, worked as Head Start teacher for a couple years, and working with the kids. I was busy with the kids during the daytime, then trying to catch up on the paperwork of trying to evaluate them and see where they're developing it in all these different areas. And then I went to another job because student loans started coming to me saying that they want money. Um, and I found that was getting distracted. And then I left that job and got a different job, the job that I have now. And in the job I have now, I have a little bit more time to myself, to where uh, I actually start thinking about, like, I haven't wrote a poem in over 2 years. I haven't even thought about writing. I've lost my goal. I don't know why in the world, I stopped planning on writing anything. The idea of writing hadn't came to me in so long. And I started realizing that I lost focus, and I'm getting older, and what should I do? So I took the opportunity from my my time that I had while I was at work to actually work on a movie idea that I had. And during that time, other movie ideas that I had started coming into my head. But I knew I had to focus on this one. I focused on it, and I have it done. Um, and I was planning on turning it in. Then the little thing called COVID-19 came, and yeah, that kind of slowed everything down, to where I'm waiting till theater companies, well, not theaters, but production companies open back up, because, you know, maybe then I'll be able to have someone who might be interested in trying to create the thing that I've had a vision of. If they don't, uh, thousands of people send in stuff, and from that, also from free time, at times I got distracted. Um, like I said, I did finish my work, but I got distracted at my job by uh, basically having free time. So with me having the free time to do whatever I wanted, every once in a while, you know, I would look at stuff on YouTube, and I'll be like, huh, like watching Death Battle. I like watching Death Battles, and I'm like, I would watch a Death Battle, then I would watch Self the Programmer say why that Death Battle was wrong. And in some of the versus battles, I had an argument against it. Um, but the thing was that watching those, and I wanted to get other people's opinions on some of these fights that I saw. So what I did was, Anime Blues Con here in Memphis, I decided I was going to do a panel where I talked about versus battles, and I had a thing where we spawned two fortune wheels to see which one would, what anime character will go against what comic book character, and it worked generally. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the best panel because some of the people that I had go together just didn't fight well. But at also that same uh, year at Anime Blues Con, I also had a panel on the future of One Piece because I like watching One Piece. Because I like watching One Piece, I had so these two panels gave me a chance to talk, and because I had a chance to talk, I started getting more interested in, and people asked seemed like they were interested in my opinions of what was said and these things. So I started wanting to talk more. And so I was like, well, if these people here at the car like what I'm talking about, well, maybe other people like it too. So that's what I did. I decided to start making up videos on my thoughts on different things. And that's why you have Heavy Arms 45. Um, because I wanted some part of my dream to come true. You know, I don't know when I do produce myself. And if you hear about a character named Gemini that shoots lightning, let you know this is your boy Heavy on 45 that made that. And um but I was listening to a guy. It's Fat Man Beyond with Kevin Smith and Bernard. I can't remember what his name is, last name is right now. But they always have people ask them, how do you break into the business of writing for movies? And they said the hardest part of breaking into the movie business is not is having a completed thought, because a lot of people, they start working on a story and they don't finish it. And that was my story. I started on an idea. I had an idea. I thought it would be a great idea. And at one point, I even gave up on even trying to create the idea myself. I said, if I just sent the idea to someone else, if somebody else thought that it was good, they would be willing to make it, and they could make millions off this idea that I have. Now, I have had several ideas, and the problem is trying to anchor my ideas in my head. I've had ideas for businesses that I thought would work. I've had ideas for things I could write, and it's all, you have to have something to anchor you down. You have to also have a dream. I don't care how old you are, what you doing now. Everybody had a dream at one point, and all of us, for some reason, had to give up our dreams. But the question is, why? Like, if your dream is to be an NBA star and you 45 years old, it might be time to stop trying for the NBA. Or talking about, I almost got recruited for the NBA. No, you probably almost did. But what do you do now? How do you keep your dream alive even though you didn't join the NBA? You know, be a be a coach for the basketball team for the Boys and Girls Club of America. I know there are several teams. Whenever my little brother was going through um, the Boys Club, so no, do whatever you have to do to keep your dream alive. You might not be able to do it, but maybe you'll be able to get somebody else the start they need to do it. If you're writing something, write it. It's nothing wrong with having a dream. It's just that you have to finish it. I've been, I've had several projects in my head that I've wanted to do that's failed through, and some of it's deal with me suddenly realizing. Because I'll be honest with you, there was one time I thought about opening up a business, and I realized it was a gamble. The gamble was I was gonna have to take out like a $500,000 loan. Now, to people who actually have business, they probably like, that's not much. So somebody like me who like, if that business fails, I owe somebody $500,000 plus the interest on it, whatever they say it is. That's terrifying because I already know I have several thousand in student loans, and I'm like, that's a debt on a debt. Can I really like poker? Are you going to like fold? Are you gonna stand? What you gonna do? And I I had to fold on it because at the time it just didn't seem feasible. And if I was in that business right now, that business probably went out of business because it was a business of people. Several people had to be there. If there wasn't several people there, I'm losing money, and that would have been a problem. And it would have only been about 3 years old. I wouldn't have even paid off the loan by now, which is sad to say. But you know, all these ideas that you have, all these plans that you have, the worst thing you could do is not follow through on them. My original goal, like I said before, was to be a writer. And if this don't sound like something you might hear your mom did say, God, God willing, I'll be able to do it. And it's true. Hopefully, I will be able to do it. But until I'm willing to finish whatever I have done, it's just a dream. It's up to me, you, and whoever else to make our dreams a reality. And it's not just by talk, it's actually by actions. Me finishing that script is one of my actions of trying to actually make a dream of mine being a writer come true. And I don't know when Uh, I send it in how much I'm expecting from it. If it's $30,000, which I think is fairly low when it comes to um, the movies, it might be 10,000. I'm not sure, but whatever amount that they give me for the script, if I'm actually able to get somebody who's willing to try and put their hands on it and see if they can make it work, um, it will be one appreciated because it's 10,000 more than what I would have had. Um, and it's also something that's uh, it's something that shows proof of it wasn't just a dream that I had in my head, but a purpose that I was able to fulfill. You know, I don't want I don't have to be the next Steven Spielberg, but if I could write a story that Steven Spielberg makes a movie out of, I would be so happy. You know, if they're like written by Heavy Arms 45, directed by Steven Spielberg, or written by Spike Lee. I mean, not written by Heavy Arms 45, directed by Spike Lee. I will feel like I've really made it. That I had at least one thing that I created that became more than just a dream. And as y'all know, I like sending these off at night, so it's about time for me to drop a couple. Well, go into my own little dream world for right now. I hope y'all enjoyed this, and I did tell y'all the truth. I did tell y'all why I created the channel. I created the channel because I like to have my voice out there. I want to have people have my opinion, and I hope y'all do enjoy listening to my opinions. I hope y'all also, if you haven't been catching me, um, this past Monday and every Monday until um, COVID-19 is figured out and stuff like that, and we don't need to stay at home. I'm going to be doing a Halo, playing Halo, and I just finished Halo, Halo Combat Evolved, the first game this past Monday, and I'll be going into Halo 2 um, this coming up Monday. Well, basically, in another 24 hours. I hope y'all enjoyed it. If you check me out, of course, every Monday at 7 p.m. If there's a change, I'll be sure to tell y'all about it too. Um, and also, if you haven't, check out Ninja Tank 25 and Thisislowkey. Both their Twitch accounts are uh, tagged on the bottom of this. In the description. So if that be it, I'll catch y'all later.